Hey, you want to check out what's happening in alternative porn in France? Let me introduce you to Carré Rose Films. Founded by Carmina, a French-Mexican performer and longtime advocate for sex worker rights. This indie studio is doing things differently, putting performers first, pushing for diversity, and tackling industry issues head on, all of which keep all while keeping things hot and fun. One example, check out this series, 60 Minutes with. Carmina meets a fellow performer for 1 hour. No script, no plan, just sees where the moment takes them, and you get to be right there with them. Don't worry about whether you speak French or not. All films are either in English or subtitled, so you won't miss a thing. Curious? Head to carrierosefilms.com. That's Carrie rosefilms.com. Cams.com is a performer-run webcam studio working with models who want to make serious bank doing online sex work. Top Treasure Cams models are earning 100K plus a year, taking home weekly fat paychecks. We have a great affiliate program to reward you for any traffic you bring to the site. We help you set up with equipment, tech, sales techniques, monthly meetings, and so much more. Visit treasurecams.com to learn more about us and to cam with us. Have you ever been looking for an amazing queer cam performer? Well, I got you covered. You should check out TS Cami. Her super hot content is on Chatterbait, Twitter, Xhamster, and Reddit. Support this rad trans femme. Enter your fantasies. Big Fantasy is a porn star, stripper, femdom, and expert making your fantasies come true. Explore Fig's secret, luxurious world at AQUATAFANA collective.net and at Figs Fantasies on OnlyFans and Figs Fantasy on Instagram. She's waiting for you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Performers Pod. I'm Chelsea Poe, and today I'm here with BDSM performer Dolly Rotten. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
You have been on my list of people I want to interview for a minute now. I had Stephanie on earlier this year. Stefani Special and I go way back, literally from like our first year in porn. And seeing your guys' collabs and just like all the stuff you're making as a new trans performer makes me like so inspired and just happy that people are continuing it. Yeah, like I so genuinely mean that. First off, how old are you? I've like tried to look up your age, I couldn't find it. Is that like on purpose?
Kinda like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people focus like a lot on the age and it gets weird. So I just like kind of hide it on certain profiles because I've gotten some weird messages. And if you've ever been on FetLife and you listed your actual age and you were younger, it got weird.
Yeah.
It gets weird. It gets weird fast. And so ever since then, I just never put my real age on that, except where it has to be, like OnlyFans and your places where it's like gonna be
Is it
like
okay? Is it okay if I
I
ask
just found
though?
out I had a go 33. Sorry,
Wait,
I have to do
really?
the math. It's like, yeah.
Girl, I thought you were like way younger. I mean, I guess that's the trans girl shit of I'm also 33.
No, that's always been me.
Yeah.
I've always looked younger than I am. I used to win at the carnival games where it's like guess your age. Uh, like when I was like 16, I looked like I was like 11 or 12. But when we would go out, they would bring me. I'd be like 16, and they would bring me like the kids menu, and
Hmm.
I would get so pissed. And my parents were like, "No, no, no, you're totally 11.
Yeah, eat it. It's cheaper. It's a good deal.
Shut up." Yeah, yeah. Now I'm like, oh yeah, I see. Yeah, no, no, fair.
Yeah, I mean, I
But
feel
yeah,
like
no,
that's
and then you add that with the hormones, and I guess it just works for me.
Yeah, I was in an airport in Nashville recently. I had like a hoodie on and like headphones, so like I can see how I looked younger. And they're like, "Excuse me, are you a minor?" I'm like, "I'm 33 years old right now." I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
So, where are you from originally?
Georgia.
Okay, nice. I feel like there's a few performers I know from Georgia.
There's a few of us. It's there's not a lot, or at
Yeah,
least a lot that I know about. There's
oh,
like a little.
Domino Presley's from
Wait,
Atlanta.
really?
Yeah, yeah, she was on the podcast and
I didn't
talked
know
about it, and
that.
I was like, "Wait, who was from there?" Yeah.
I'm not originally from Atlanta, but I lived there.
Hmm.
Um, so could bet.
Following in good
But
footsteps. So
yeah,
you're like pretty new to porn. You're like 3, 4 years in, right? I mean, I guess that's like a veteran porn career if we're being honest. Um,
it's like kind of two because I did like a few, like it's like two or three because I took like a year off in the very
mhm.
beginning for like just personal and medical reasons.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of weird because like it on record it kind of looks like I have that, but there was this huge gap where I was just like doing nothing um until I could get like the medical stuff under control and then like
Yeah.
personal stuff and then I was like, okay, back to porn. And it was funny because it didn't seem like anyone noticed I was gone and everyone just kind of thought I was here the whole time and I'm like, okay, cool.
That's how
Yay.
it goes. I was talking to someone about this recently, especially when you've been in porn for a while, people picture you as the age when they discovered your porn. So like I have people who still picture me as like a 22-year-old and shit. It's like, no, I'm a whole like grown person now, you know? But there's still people who are like, "Oh yeah, you were in that scene when you were 22 years old and you had sex with your professor and that's where you are forever, you know?"
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't got there yet, so I'll have to take your word.
In a
I'm
few
still kind
years.
of amazed there's like people who watching my stuff and like that like I have fans. That's like a hard concept for me to wrap my head
Hmm.
around is like there are people that are fans of me. Like I guess like before, especially before transitioning, I always felt like a side character and now I'm like a main character to some people
Yeah.
and I'm not used to that. I'm just like, oh shit, you noticed me?
Yeah, now you're
Okay.
like the notable thing in your home community now where it's like, "Oh, you know they're a porn star now?" Like
It's so weird. Like people are like, "Oh my God, you work in porn, you're a porn star," and I'm like, "I guess kinda. I don't know.
hmm.
I just, go out and do things. To me, this is just like everyday, like living work. You know, like I don't know. I just like, okay, this is life for me,
Yeah.
and I guess I forget now that like that's fascinating to people.
For sure it's fascinating. Also, like the kind of porn you
Like,
do is pretty fucking extreme. Like I was saying to my partner, I was like, "Yeah, so I'm marrying
yeah,
this other trans girl who's newer to porn." And I'm like they do some really extreme shit and they're like more extreme than you and I'm like some ways yes. Other ways production wise, I'm like I think I'm always gonna the Public Disgrace scene was such a crazy production, just like on that end of it. But
oh
like you're doing
yeah,
things
that
where
was
you're getting like
amazing.
electrocuted with like a dog collar, pissed on, like all sorts of shit that I don't personally do.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like learned I could take a lot, which I
Hmm.
didn't know that until I started kink. And then I started finding out like pressure points don't work anywhere on my body. I didn't know that until like I went to this munch and a friend of mine introduced me to this like former military interrogator uh who was like, are you okay with me doing pressure points? And then they started trying to do it and I'm like I realize now this sounded really bratty, but I was genuinely curious what I was supposed to be feeling because I wasn't feeling anything. And I had like bruises because they start getting frustrated and like is stuff I learned like that where it's like, oh, I can kind of go way more than some other performers and kind of work that in
For
like
sure.
as a niche.
Um,
And yes,
yeah, like you
it's-
have this like true gift for being able to take pain. I can take pain, but it actually fucking hurts. So I feel like I wish I had that ability where I'm like, oh yeah, I don't even feel anything. I'm like, if I'm getting canned, I'm like, I'm feeling every single bit of it.
yeah, like stingy gets to me, but it's like weird. It's not the pain that gets to me. It's like the sensation of it.
Mm,
Like it's a very weird feeling because like there are some pains that get to me. Um, I'm not like, one of those people that just can't feel pain, which I'm kind of glad for because like that's just a whole mess of problems on its own when you can't
for
feel
sure.
pain. Because like this comes like even where I'm at, I can get hurt and not know it, so it becomes a
Really?
real problem. Yeah,
I,
like it's like an actual thing I have to work out with my doctor.
oh
So
wow.
yeah, like I had I don't know. I don't know if I should say that one. Um
Whatever you feel comfortable with, as long as it's not illegal, you're totally fine to talk about anything,
oh
as I said
yeah.
earlier.
It's more embarrassing. It's more embarrassing. It was more like I did a rough sex scene. I didn't know I got like an injury from it because I didn't feel anything. I didn't,
Hmm.
and like really good scene, really amazing
Hmm.
scene. But like I go to move on to my next scene, which was another extreme scene that I had planned out. And then I learned, oh, I can't bottom. Oh fuck. And I
Yeah.
had to rework that whole scene into an extreme scene without any penetration, at least anally.
Okay. Oh, so
Like
is pain down
on the
there?
fly. Yeah, it wasn't that I was having pain, which that's kind of the problem, which
Yeah.
like I could have easily gone and did that if I didn't find out.
Mm.
And like then, may have gone further. And like I lucky I caught it because I didn't feel anything. I didn't,
Yeah.
and that's like it's like a gift and a curse. It's like
Yeah.
just a whole gift and a curse. Who was that monk that would say it's a gift and a curse?
I don't know. I am Buddhist, so I
Sorry.
should probably know about that, which is
No,
bad.
no, Monk the TV show.
Oh,
Monk the
Monk the
TV
TV
show.
show. I thought you were talking about like Buddhist monks. I'm like, damn.
Uh,
If you're quizzing me on
no,
Buddhism and I
no.
don't know it on my own podcast, damn. Mother-in-law is gonna be like, "Are you sure you're a Buddhist?"
No, no, not anything that
The
well,
monk,
thank
yes.
you for the credit. That seemed way smarter.
If
Uh
you should just roll with it, be like, yeah, you really should review your Buddhist teachings. Um,
I
but
could.
yeah, the USA show monk, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, like that's how I always viewed it. It's kind of one of those things where people are always like, "That's so cool. I wish I could do that scene." And I'm like, "It's really cool." But one of the reasons I'm able to do the scenes also like there's a whole lot of bullshit that comes with it.
You could literally
Like
be like, I'm built different.
I am. My doctor said I'm built like a tank and I don't look like it.
Girl, not
Like
at all. No.
no, no, everybody's like, "You're so fragile, Dolly. I don't want to hurt you." And I'm like, if you manage to hurt me, cool. Well, but like, because I'm so scrawny and everything, and I've just had like DOMs and people just be like, "I don't want to hit you too hard," and they'll give me like the lightest taps with like paddles and shit, and it's so annoying. I'm like, tap, tap, why? And like, I'm used to like getting hit with hockey pucks on a stick. and stuff
Wait,
like that.
how? Wait, you used to play hockey?
No,
Oh,
I've
okay.
never played hockey. I know two performers that do play hockey. Um,
And they
and I
hit you
have
with
like
hockey
a whole
pucks.
no, not yet. That's in the making though. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I have a whole idea for two hockey performers that could um and hopefully I can make that happen and get a pretty interesting scene out of it. But no, I one of my first like impact toys was it came in a set from a friend that makes them.
Hmm.
And they're all it was all Purple Heart, matching Purple Heart stuff. And one of them was a hockey puck, like a real hockey puck on
Hmm.
like a rod attached to a handle, and it leaves the best bruises. It's great.
Yeah. Getting hit by a
Uh,
hockey puck is
it,
not chill.
it's pretty intense. Like it's so funny because I feel bad for anybody who sees like my really vanilla like groovy stuff
Yeah.
it knows me from that, and then I probably traumatize them with the more extreme stuff. And that's just what's out there. Like my private sex life's kind of crazy.
I can only
This is
imagine.
just the shit I can record and sell. So there's like a lot of stuff. Not that I'm like doing any like it's just platforms you can't show anything fun.
Hmm.
I guess there's Hotline now and Sheer.
Yeah.
Here's look there, but it most of my stuff I don't even know if anyone knows those exist. That I have those, and they're just going off like the mini bits and my OnlyFans.
I mean,
Like
I
I
think
did
coming out.
fire flogging, and I have a video, and I tried to post it on OnlyFans, not realizing that was a really stupid idea. Because I was like,
Yeah.
it's really artsy.
I think from the outside perspective, I think everyone knows you're making crazy BDSM. Because like, I mean, obviously I'm in this world and shit, but still, like, I was like, oh yeah, that's like a majority of your
I,
content on social media.
yeah, yeah, and it's funny because like I hid it like for so long because I didn't want to like I didn't know where like your branding and all that. I'm like, do I want to go there? Do I not want to go there? And like meantime, I'm getting like the absolute shit beat out of me uh, by other girls in my private life
Hmm.
and just having the funnest scenes. And then I would go back and I would try to make things like kinky, but keep them within like a box. So you didn't get too wild, but you got kind of wild enough that it was interesting. But and then at some point, I think it was after I came back from my hiatus, and I
Hmm.
was just like, fuck it. I'll still like maintain the image I cultivated for myself. Um, but I also want to be able to, show my extreme stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I remember the first time you entered my comments, I had to double check if you were real. I was like, I like was double checking your account to see if it was a fake because I've had that happen to me.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm real.
I, I had a fake Paul Rubens account, like try to convince me like Pee Wee Herman was watching my porn, and I was like, this is really weird. Uh, yeah, it was a very weird thing. So it was like one of those like I once I found out you were real, I was like, whoa,
I'm like,
wait, really?
I always want to support the trans girls doing more BDSM because, like, when Stephanie and I started, everyone was like, no one's gonna do that. No one wants to see that. And then that there's this whole generation coming up now. You, um, who did I have on earlier this year who was like also doing a bunch of crazy shit? Dusty Bunny is like doing some crazy shit too. And it's just like,
Yeah, you know
oh my
Dusty.
God, there's new trans girls doing fucked up shit. And that if Stephanie and I could have any impact on y'all, that makes me so fucking happy because like It's just so genuinely, obviously, trans women are women and shit, but like also there's some trans women into like all the fucked up fantasies that all the cis women are into in the industry as well. Like, there's so many people who have these gangbang fantasies or these like complex BDSM fantasies of like being kidnapped or being fucked in public and shit. And it's just like we never were really given that opportunity. So now that we can just kind
Mm-mm.
of exist as any other women in this industry, which is also very bizarre because the rest of the world's so anti-trans right now, but porn is so relatively pro-trans.
Yeah, in like the weirdest ways, it's kind of bizarre because you also like you get messages from all the fucking people who are like out there publicly hating you, and then they're like, "Oh, you're the prettiest thing in the world," and I want to
Yeah,
fuck you and like be my wife and like all this shit, and it's
always.
like I don't think I'll ever get over that. And I still find it fucking hilarious when anyone does that. And like, oof. But yeah, no, I'm glad. Like, I feel like I got into porn in the best and worst time ever.
Yeah,
Like,
yours is like right around the pandemic, or was it right after?
it was right around the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a thing I was bouncing around my head for a while. And I already had some friends, and I had some partners that were in it, and then I was just like, fuck it. Um, what else do I have to like lose? Like I've come out as trans, I've come out as poly, um, you know, in a like Southern conservative Baptist family.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what's porn?
Yeah.
Uh, what's one more thing? And yeah, it was like right during the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and I shot my first like early stuff uh during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
My first ever photo shoot was with
With who?
Nixie Leone and Elizabeth.
Nice.
Yeah. Um, it wasn't anything that like compared like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
even though like that trip I got hit my first time with a single tail.
Shit,
And
that
I
shit's so
remember that, and I
scary.
was like, "Oh, that was fun."
Was that in
I was
Vegas or
so
LA?
scared, but I was like so down for it. That was in Florida.
Oh, you did the Florida porn scene. I guess that makes sense if you're in Georgia, that's like the nearest.
No, I only did like I didn't do much of that because like right around that time I started getting everything, and then I had like some burnout on I was doing Chatterbait, and I just had some burnout from that because I didn't really know how to like stabilize and keep things, you know,
It's really
healthy.
hard,
So I
especially
was
like
just
when you're
go, go, go,
first in
go, go,
it.
go. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm always that person that I gotta, I usually make the mistake of going really hard and then,
Hmm.
oh, I need to dial this back. Okay. And that's kind of what happened. And then I had like another thing on top of that. That's why, like, I say that there's like a 6 to almost a year like hiatus there in the
Hmm.
beginning for me. Um, but like, it was so fun. And like all I did was a photo shoot out there. I didn't even get to see like the whole porn scene of
Hmm.
Florida back before like it seems like there's still a lot there, but it's mostly cis now.
For sure. Also, like,
Like,
it's such like a specific aesthetic too. And like that just aesthetic just never spoke to me. I feel like
yeah.
I'm a pale white girl who wants to like weird arty shit. And that does not usually translate to Miami.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up traveling to Florida for family
Hmm.
reunions, a lot. So like Florida always mainly the Panhandle, and then occasionally we get to go to Disney. Is it Disney World or Disneyland? I always get
Disney
those
World.
confused.
Yeah, Disney
Which
World's in
one's
Florida.
Florida?
Disneyland's
Thank
in
you.
California. Yeah, I got
And
you.
yeah, thank you. I'm always like, wait, it's one of them. One of them's one somewhere. But yeah, I know more about the Florida kink scene than I do the Florida scene because I was there a lot for different like events and stuff.
So you were like always into like fetish and kink stuff before even starting porn.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Like I was inspired like by seeing the old Betty Page pics like
Yeah.
way back.
Fuck yes.
Like so like Betty Page and like John Willie's Bazaar and all that. I like stumbled upon that when I was like 13 or something. And I kind of rabbit holed and got, then I discovered things like insects and kink and,
Yeah.
that grew and like I never really watched normal porn.
Yeah, I feel the same. Like I didn't watch porn until I was 18 for the first time. I was very late to it. And like even that, I was like into gangbang porn. I was into like intense BDSM and stuff. And then it wasn't until I saw like a Sasha Grey interview for Vice, and I was like, oh, there's this like arty girl in porn. I bet it's like super vanilla. And then I saw like her like just screaming at men in a gangbang scene, and I'm like, oh my God, I can do this. If this girl can do this and be an artist and like do all this weird like art and have a noise band and do gangbangs, I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah, like I'm waiting for my next game bang. Unfortunately, my last one didn't go very well.
Oh no, what happened? Is everything okay?
Um it's bad director,
Oh,
sadly. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to
So
shoot one Saturday,
like
but
I lucky.
yeah, it's like a satanic
Oh,
sacrifice
you said
scene.
but. Oh no.
Yeah, oh, but yeah, I just got an
Oh, that
email that
sounds so
someone's
hot.
like, "Oh, I have a cold." So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, I wish you the best. I'm trying to set one up for my birthday, and I'm just like
You totally should.
like I'm trying to. I Part of me wants wanted to do it for what is it, World Pride in DC, and see
Oh,
if I
that'd
could
be
get a
so
bunch of
fun.
the people. Yeah, and like have a gangbang during like the world's largest pride or something. But
Hmm.
I don't know if I can make that happen on such short notice. So it might just have to wait till my birthday.
Yeah, you were talking about influences earlier. Like, do you have any other porn influences that really inspired you?
So I mean, the first like two trans girls I remember, and I know this is
Hmm.
probably cliche, that like introduced me into not only like trans porn,
Hmm.
but like just trans in general was Bailey J and Natalie Mars.
Okay. I don't know the
Um,
second girl. Bailey J, though, like, she's a fucking. I think she's the best trans performer of all time. I got to work with her once, and it was just like, girl, that shit was crazy. It was like my first time ever in New York City. We ran into John Waters in the lobby.
what? That's fucking
Yeah.
nuts.
Then we were at the hotel, and it was like her comeback scene from retirement. Right? So there was like that pressure to it. And she's like, I want to do queer porn now. And I'm like, okay, all right. It was also like, I think her and her husband opening up their marriage for the first time. And then
I
like right after
I
we
think
shot,
I remember. I think I remember something with you and Bailey J.
yeah. So then right after, I was still very new in the industry. And there was like an interview set up with Cosmo, like the magazine. And they like rolled into the room after. I just remember eating a salad, being like, being interviewed by them, being like, "What the fuck is this day? This is the craziest thing." I'm like, I was literally living on a college campus, like maybe 6 months before that.
That's insane. I don't even know if I would
Crazy,
know how to
bro.
handle that.
I didn't know how to
Yeah, like
handle that. I
interviewed
was
after shoot.
22.
I mean, that's interview after a shoot would be like the worst for me because usually I just like kind of just put my all into it and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
time to like cuddle with plushies and just like chill, um, recharge, do it the next day or do it in like 8 hours
yeah.
again.
I feel like you have to really have like a routine for after like just recovering because I feel like so many people like build up all this stuff in scenes where it's like, oh, I'm gonna do all these hardcore things in a scene, but it's like it's as important as your prep going into it as your performance as your recovery. And like I read I got really into sports psychology during the pandemic. So I'm like, I can't perform right now, so I want to learn everything about it inside and out. Like just learning that changed my perspective so much because like I used to have scenes where I would like shoot and then do a bunch of shit afterwards and like the next day feel like shit, you know? It's like you really
Yeah,
have to take care of yourself throughout it.
I- it it is. And I often worry like people see my extreme scenes and don't
Hmm.
understand like the amount of planning that actually goes into it. Like, I do some pretty risky stuff.
For sure,
Uh,
bro. Like
and that has to have a lot of planning. It's kind of like what is it like when you see like stunt perform like there's a lot of planning
hmm.
involved in this and including what I'm going to do after because like I have to take care of myself. So
Yeah.
like you have to have a whole routine and the more extreme the scene, like at least my rule of thumb is like the more extreme the scene, the more out of aftercare I need. So it raises the bar for aftercare each time the higher I go. And like sometimes like I have to bring a friend along or or have
Hmm.
them set up for it. It's like I'm meeting up their house after so I can just get cuddles and chill and whatever
Hmm.
I need. And then I have my whole routine for when I'm traveling. I can't do that where I actually have a plushie one of my partners gave to me.
Hmm.
And so it goes out to all my shoots or anywhere. Uh, so I can just hold it after and hold like my collar and everything. Um, and that's like my, you know, solo aftercare. Like just because when you go like really hard, it can go
Yeah.
like sub drops a bitch regardless. And I have that's one thing I worry with my scenes is people are gonna see it, not understand some of the planning and safety that goes into it,
For sure.
and then try to repeat it. But I guess it's like the jackass thing, kind of. Um, I'm kind of worried people are gonna see it and go, "I can do that." It's like you really can't. Please don't.
I feel like we fit into
I'm.
some version of like artistic athletes because like most people can't do this shit. Like, no way. Most people
Mhm.
can do all this crazy shit we do, but then people look at it and they're like, "Oh yeah, totally. Of course." And it's like, "No, you can't.
I remember. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm sorry. I think the delay is getting us a little bit. But yeah, what I was saying is like we're just like this 1 or 10% of people that can do this. Like most people can't have sex in a room full of people and be able to perform on cue, essentially, you know? That's just not how most human bodies work.
Yeah, I mean, I've had moments where I realized like I had a shoot the other day and I feel so bad about canceling it, but it was just after, something really intense happened in my
Mm-hmm.
personal life. Um, and I was like, oh shit, I can't perform. And I was actually trying to push myself to perform that day. And then I you know, I realized I can't. And but it also occurred to me like that might be what a lot of people just feel going into this, just
Hmm.
all normal. Because me, I have no problem, fucking on camera. I have no problem doing any number of things on camera, obviously. If for those of you looked at my Twitter, you'll find that out very fast. Um, but yeah, it most you're right. Most people can't, and it reminds you talking about a Vice article earlier, and this is
Hmm.
this is where I was going. ADHD brain.
This
Was I
is
remember
what this
reading
whole
this Vice
podcast is
article
about.
way
Just
back.
bouncing
Oh,
around.
thank
So yeah,
God.
yeah,
Okay,
100%.
perfect. And it was like a porn star talking to like this Vice dude about, I think it was Vice, about how like being in porn, you have to like, it's like being an Olympic athlete.
Yeah,
Like there's so much training and so much like shit you have to do. Like I've been fisted. To get to fisting,
yeah,
there's a lot of work you have to do with your butt, and it is practically like training for a sport.
it is
And
like literally.
yeah, like I mean, recently I released a scene where I have a horse dildo on a fucking machine. I'm this Clockwork Orange setup, and there's like a hypno scene thing going on in the
Yeah.
front, and I'm forced to watch it. Originally, it was supposed to have speculums, but due to a mix-up, I thought they had the speculums. They thought I had the eye speculums. So now I have to redo it with the AI speculums because I'm like, damn it, I'm getting the scene because it's inspired off like Elise Graves and another scene I saw forever ago, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I think I was like 16. Like I need to do that. Yes, burned into my mind.
Yeah,
And
who are some of your like BDSM influences? Obviously, we're kind of jumping around here, but like, yeah, like you.
oh, so BDSM influences. So like my earliest ones were like Betty Page,
Hmm.
John Willie's like Bizarre, like all that old stuff. I don't know how I stumbled into that, but like all those like old drawings and stuff. And then so some of my biggest ones have been uh, one I kind of realized only after meeting the person and thinking it back was Princess Donna.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit.
Yeah, I the first time I met her, I didn't know it was her. Like I knew Princess Donna and this person. I just like, it was like they look familiar. She looks really familiar. But I just got done with a scene and I was kind of sub droppy and
Hmm.
I was just hanging out while, you know, somebody else shot and I was like, God, this person looks familiar. Oh, whatever. And she was really sweet. At some point, I mentioned to who I was there with, I was having some sub drop, and she gave me some candy out of her.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like,
that's so
oh.
wholesome. The first time I
I
met
was just
her,
like, oh,
oh no,
yeah.
go on,
No,
go on. I'll tell you after.
I was just like, oh, thank you. And it was when we were leaving after I watched her get fisted that I'm like, who? I person looks really familiar. This lady looks really familiar. And who I was there with like turned to me and was like, "That's Princess Donna." I'm like, "Princess Donna, Princess Donna." It was it was nuts. And then it kind of occurred to me, but like I'm also kind of glad I didn't know who it was at first, because
Yeah.
I'm always afraid like I'm gonna get all star fuckery with it. And I don't want to be that person. I'm just like everybody's a person outside of this. Like, I'm on like a much smaller scale and I still get like people in the kink community coming up and going, I've seen you in porn. And I'm like, cool. And then they just get really weird about it. So it's like, I don't want to do that thing.
Yeah,
I don't want to
it's
make anyone
like
feel uncomfortable.
It's a really weird thing because I feel like porn generations are so short, so you can have people who are inspired by your porn be like, "Oh yeah, I was inspired by something you shot last year and now I'm in the industry." And you're just like, "Huh, okay." The first time I met Princess Donna was at Pride. We were at Dolores Park and they were outside of the industry at the time I met them, and I'm like, "You're the reason for like 90% of my sexuality." I'm like, literally. They're like,
No, I
"Oh,
totally get
cool."
that.
Yeah.
Like her like public disgrace was one of my go-to, and like so it's like so weird meeting the people that inspire like shaped your sexuality, and then they're just right in front of you handing you candy.
Yeah.
It's and it's like it kind of like breaks your brain. It's you know like yes, they're a person, but like it's like a person you assumed you'd never ever ever run into in a million
Never.
years.
Yeah, like they exist in a different
Like I'm
reality.
never gonna meet this person. We're never gonna be in the same room together. And then you're in the same room together, or you're shooting a porn together, and it's like, okay, I guess this is happening. Like
I
for me, it's just like huh, weird, cool, okay, and I get over it. I feel like a lot of like I don't want to focus on the star fucking thing.
Go for it.
Like everybody is people.
Yeah.
Like it was God. Like yeah, Princess Donna definitely. You're asking about BDSM influences. That's one of my biggest because like
Yeah.
Public Disgrace was one of my favorites. I remember watching that and being like, I want to do that.
It's so fucking
That's
crazy.
that's
It's
a
so
goal.
fucking crazy.
That was like one of those ones where I kind of should have figured out I was trans, and I guess I kind of knew at some point, but like you know, at the time, coming from a very religious and like
hmm
conservative family, it it's also like and I lived through the Jesus camp era too, and I was in like
Yeah.
rural, like not rural, but like deep south, and I have so it was one of those ones where it's like hmm, like if I do this, will I be excommunicated from my family? Are they gonna like send me somewhere? You hear like so it was just something I buried in myself.
Yeah. That
Um,
has to be really hard. Also, I feel like the narrative around trans shit was so different back then. Because like
it
even then it
was.
was still like so like much like trapped in the wrong body narrative, and like for a while I didn't fuck with it. It was literally not until I saw a documentary that was like about like trans people in college, and like one was just a trans dude who was like in a band and they would just like smoke weed with their friends, and I'm like, all right, I can fuck with this. This feels like doable.
Yeah, it wasn't for me the longest time. Like I saw Bailey J and Natalie Mars appear, and I'm like, okay. And that was like my first introduction to trans people
Mm.
outside like seeing my dad used to watch Jerry Springer a lot. So it
Yeah,
was
that
like,
was
in the trash TV and you saw the narrative with trans people. It's like that whole freak show narrative. So
Mhm.
I grew up like seeing that and it's like, that kind of fucks with you. Um, so I feel like that also drives you to repress it because it's this weird like oh, this is how society's going to perceive you as a freak show.
Mhm.
I mean, which is funny. Now I don't give a shit if somebody perceives me as a freak show.
Yeah,
I can't care anymore. But like back then, it's so intense, and like like you were saying, the whole narrative was different. It's like the trapped in the wrong body thing,
mhm.
which that never gelled with me.
For sure.
Like,
Because it was also like you're trapped in the
uh,
wrong body, and then when you come out and shit, you have to like start a new life somewhere, and it's just like so kind of crazy.
yeah, yeah, and like I remember it wasn't until I was on Discord and I was in some servers with some other trans girls. And like I, at this point, for a long while realized, like ever since I was little, I realized, and it's like people are like, when did you learn you were trans? And it's like I kind of always knew
Yeah.
because I knew I didn't fit. Like I tried to fit in with the boys because that's what my dad was like. I want to play baseball with you and like work on cars with you when you get older, and like go hunting and shooting with you, all the masculine things. And I just was like, none of this is working. None of this is feeling right. And I know I can't like, and it was that thing for the longest time. I just thought like I was somewhere in between,
Mm.
and like I couldn't figure out like, oh, I guess I can't be a girl even though I that's what I want and I know that. But growing up and then going through like those decades, it
Hmm.
was very like weird. And then I learned like that's possible, but then I was like, oh, I can never do it. That's too much. Um, like when I learned about like injecting estrogen, that I learned about that before pills. So
Oh,
I
really?
actually have a severe phobia of needle. Yeah, I
Same.
have a really bad phobia of needles. Um, I hate saying that because people are like, oh, you're scared of needles. And I'm like, no, they have to sedate me to do blood work.
Oh shit, it's that bad?
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I'm in like that, tiny, tiny percent.
Yeah. I know some
Um,
friends who are like that who they literally will faint if they like get vaccine or something.
oh, I don't faint till after. I won't faint
Yeah.
till after, because my adrenaline spikes up so high.
Oh shit.
They actually have hard time sedating me. Yeah, it's crazy. It is like nuts. I had to work with my doctor for a while, and now I'm doing exposure therapy. I've been doing exposure therapy for about 2, 3 years. And now I'm on injections. Uh, yeah, I mean, for someone with such a extreme phobia of needles, I picked some, not picked, but I guess I did pick porn. Because I was like, I want to do that. Fuck all this. This
Where you have
seems
to get blood
fun.
work every like month at least.
Yeah, and then like blood work for your hormones and blood work. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was just what okay. But it pushed me towards like getting exposure therapy, and because I was like, I don't want this to ruin my life. This is just stupid. And hey, now I'm on fucking injections for estrogen. I can't inject myself right now. That's the next goal. So I still have to have another girl do it for sure.
I love how it
But
has to be a
I feel
girl.
like that's
You're
like,
like, it has to be administered by a girl.
well, well, usually it's like another trans girl because, that's who I trust to administer
Yeah.
my estrogen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that it feels it's like a weird bonding trans moment injecting another person with estrogen. But
I've never done the injection. I really don't like needles. I'm not like to that level, but like when I get blood work done, I'm always like, "Hey, I'm not trying to be rude to the phlebotomist, but I'm gonna be on my phone on Instagram. I can't look at this right now." And they're always like, "Oh, okay." But what you were saying about feeling like you had to hide being trans, I came out very young, and we're like the same age. So I think we were feeling the same shit at the same time. As much as it's like, oh wow, everything changes and everything's good, it's just like I started hormones when I was like a teenager. So like there was passing and shit, but also there was like such intense job employment discrimination back then. So there was like that whole element of it, and that's like kind of what got me into sex work originally and like camming and shit. So as much as it's like a good thing, you also get like the direct sexism of being read as a teen girl where like your opinions are so
yeah,
disregarded. Like you get predatory shit from like your roommate's like boyfriend and shit, where he's like hitting you up on Instagram and shit and be like, it's totally fine. I'm so into it and shit. So it's like I'm glad I had the end of my high school and college experience as a girl, but at the same time, there's a lot of fucked up shit that just happens when you're a girl. And also at the
I
time I
wish
feel
I could
like
add that.
al- I think it's like also when there was such little trans visibility, like my girlfriend who was also a trans girl, like the only time she got misgendered was at gay clubs because there'd be like gay men who would like think that it's their job to like misgender trans women and shit. So it's like this really
Yeah, it's
weird
really weird.
situation.
Yeah. I've had that before and I'm like, whoa, what's your deal? Who hurt you?
Yeah,
Who pissed in
right.
your cornflakes today? Like,
But
dude, just chill.
I do have to say, being a girl
That's,
and partying during the era of Taylor Swift's Red and the iconic pop song, I Love It at the club. Those days, that shit was so fun.
I bet. Like, I'm learning from those days from like Stephanie and other people. Like, I've never been to a club
Mm,
yet. I've never like this is my first time learning like getting to party and let
yeah.
loose and be me, which like I wish I started earlier, but at the same time, it's one of those things where if I went through high school and did this,
Hmm.
it probably would have gotten crazy unless I had
Yeah.
like a good friend to stabilize me. Because like,
Yeah.
seeing how I am now, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that could have gone. That's so many different places. But
Yeah.
it's it is what it is. And and I feel like a lot of people think, oh, it's too late for me to start. And
Yeah.
like, no, it's never too late for you to start.
Definitely not.
Like honestly, I feel so much better like mentally, just psychologically on my
Yeah.
hormones than off, where I've never been so like, oh, I can just wake up and have self-esteem. Yeah, I have dysphoria sometimes, but like I wake up and I'm like, I can actually go out and I want to socialize. I want to go to
Hmm.
bars or party or and that's like a whole new like thing for me.
For sure.
Like,
I think
like
there's I think there's like such a narrative in our community that's always like, oh, I should have came out at this age instead of this age. But like also like I think people glamorize trans women coming out in their teens a lot and all that shit. Mostly like for aesthetic sexist reasons, which is really fucked up too. Because like instead of transphobia,
yeah,
you just get regular
it's oof.
sexism. But like transitioning older has to be better in some ways because you actually have like an understanding of being an adult. Where when you're doing it in your
Mm.
teens, you're not only going through this like huge hormonal thing and like figuring who you are as a person. Because like even if you're like, oh, I'm a girl, I'm gonna transition and shit, you still have to figure out who you are as a person, even if you didn't transition. So you have like these two major conflicts coming at your life when you're like 19 to 22, and you're like, who am I? Who am I as a person? How do I know how to like pay rent on time? How do I know how to pay my bills? Like all this stuff on top of all the hormonal shit you're going through, all your like first relationships is like yourself and shit. Like it's just so
Oh
much
yeah.
stuff. And I think it's like so glamorized, literally, just because people are like, oh, wow, young trans girl, pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, and like I had the thing where it's like I didn't really date before coming out. I was
Hmm.
just kind of a very depressed person.
Yeah.
So I mostly kept to my hobbies and was just kind of a shut-in and then would occasionally go out with friends, but it was mostly like very limited. And I'm glad I had a period to kind of like sort of ground myself.
Hmm.
I mean, I hate it and love it is
Yeah.
is the way I would describe it. Like it sucks, but it also kind of doesn't suck. But then you get into relationships and you have to like kind of relearn like, oh, I'm me now.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember I only had one like partner, like ex-partner now
Hmm.
before I came out. Um, no, no, I had two. I'm sorry. Uh, like except the second one was like a month or two before I came out, so I don't know if that one counts. Like I was already like in the process, like the ball was
Yeah.
rolling down the hill
Hmm.
and the trans snowball. So I don't count that one, but the one before coming out, it's like having all those expectations of you as a male,
Yeah.
um, like forced upon you, and you don't know what to do, and then you get into a relationship as yourself, and then you have like, oh, like you're actually treating me like a girl. Um, okay, this is new. Like, and I guess I'm also in a weird situation. I only dated other trans girls for a long while.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Uh, I've never actually been with a cis girl.
Oh, really?
Nope, not yet. I guess in my private life once, but I don't know if it counts because she was like it was this three-way dom team on me, and she was just like fucking me with a strap on. So that's like my only experience with this girl, and she was like one of the subs of the person.
Mm.
And yeah, that was a really fun night.
It sounds
I had
like
so many
it.
bruises. Yeah, it was impact play and then fucking and impact play and then fucking and I had like the galaxy bruises from it. It was beautiful.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I think at one point I got like caned with a violin bow.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
very
like they just
aesthetic.
pulled out a violin. I was like, "Is that a violin bow?" And they're like, "Yeah, I like using them." I was like, "Shit." Like, but yeah, I've never shot with a cis woman yet.
Wait, what? Really?
I feel like no, wait, no, 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 no. There is one I shot with. Who was it? Ashley Edmonds.
Okay.
Ashley Edmonds is the only cis woman I've shot with. Yeah,
I, I'm
I for
like,
I. It's, sometimes it's hard to remember the one because it's so many just other trans girls, and then like cis dudes.
I feel like I've been on so
Uh,
many sets where I'm just like the only trans woman on
which I'm
set.
trying to change that. I have never been in that situation.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know what
I
I would do if, yeah.
yeah, I've had moments where I'm like,
The
shit, I need
closest
to
I've
start
been is
shooting.
being at a party.
Hmm.
Oh, oh,
Okay, we have a little bit of a lag. It's
sorry,
okay.
the delay.
You go on first.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the only time I've ever been in that situation, like a similar situation or close, is like being the only trans girl at a party. And that's
Mm.
always weird, especially if like people know you're the only trans. Like I've been to a kink party where I've been the only like trans girl. I'm like, or like maybe there's one other, but then it's the majority. So it's like, do I go over there and just hang with the other trans girl, or just gonna, or just like, like what do you do? I mean, usually I just go and hang with the other trans girl because I'm just like, okay, I guess it's just you and me in this. Let's hunker down over in this corner with couches.
I don't know if it's like being in queer
Like,
porn, but like my experience is always like the opposite, where I'm like one of two trans girls, if there's any other on set. So like I've had times in my work where I'm like, man, I need to shoot with a trans girl because I'm afraid someone's gonna call me out and be like, Chelsea, why won't we work with other trans women?
I, I'm still so new, so like I feel like I'm eventually gonna get there. Like,
Yeah.
like talking to Steph a lot. It's hearing about like the old days and like what you and her went through and all that. It's kind of crazy because it
Yeah.
also fills in the gaps of like, oh, I watched these things, and so here's like everything that was happening behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
it's like learning like the history of the industry, which is nuts.
It's
It's
so
so
crazy
cool.
how like transphobic it used to be, and then just like it turned completely around where it's now like I don't ever get shit for being nominated for best BDSM movie anymore. No one's ever like, how dare she or anything like that. Like it's just chill. And I think it's just gonna continue to happen. There's gonna be more trans girls in more categories across the board. Like I don't think we're being held back like we were before, you know? Like I don't know. Have you had like weird moments at like any of these like award shows or conventions or anything, or has everything mostly been chill for you?
So, like, oh, I haven't been to an award show yet. I was gonna be at the Tees, then I had to like cancel last minute because some
Mhm.
stuff came up. So I was like,
Yeah.
damn. And so I missed like the TAs, but I haven't been to any award shows yet. Um, a lot of kink conventions. I used to help a friend vend that sold
Mm.
paddles. So like a lot of those, and I have had a lot of weird interactions being trans at those
Good.
sometimes, just because there's always like that dude. Yeah, like I had like people misgender me or think I'm a
Ugh.
cross dresser, which I
Ugh.
that one was weird. Yeah. And all sorts of stuff like that. And then you have all the people who don't want to play or interact with trans people and that. And it's kind of the
Hmm.
same in the porn industry is segregated too. You have a ton of people from the other side that don't want to have anything to do with us. And that really sucks.
Mm.
Um, but I've started getting a few like people from the other side of the industry slowly wanting to work with me. And that kind of blows my mind now because I didn't ever think I would get there. Honestly, I didn't ever think I would get like to the point I'm being, on a podcast with Chelsea Poe over here.
But
I
like
mean, like, I remember seeing you in porn and like you and Stefani Special and
I'm like
people,
what
and I'm
what I'm like
like,
which
I'm
porn?
t
Which porn?
like that. I saw the Bailey J one with you.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, because like there's like a moment where it's like I was really into Bailey J. Yeah, I saw like a new Bailey J thing, and but like it wasn't until you said that I connected the two, and I'm like, oh, like
I'm the
I
lesbian
I
fangirl in the scene.
again when you started commenting like in my comments section, and that blew my mind. That was like, oh my God. And then you talked about wanting me on. You messaged me about being on your podcast. I was like,
Girl, you're
do
doing
I do
cool
it?
shit. You're doing cool
Thank
shit.
you.
If you would have said no, I would have been like, girl, you I would have been very confused that you were like that excited for me to like comment on your thing and you should have been like, no thanks for the podcast. I'm good. I would have been like, what?
Like as social, like everybody thinks I'm really social. I have massive social anxiety,
Yeah.
and like part of my way of getting through it is just being Dolly. Dolly, when I kind of got into porn, I wanted Dolly to be me, but like also not me, like more
Mm-hmm.
social. So I kind of have to. I don't know if you ever had to do with that with yours, where like split the two.
I'm always this. Like I can't I don't I'm not that good at acting to have another personality, I don't think. Where like I talked to someone recently and they're like, "Wow, you're like the same person is on stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, that's like my only setting." Like I don't have I wish I had like a cool girl like thing where I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do whatever I want." But like that's not me, sadly.
It's not me either. What is it? I was constantly told, fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And the only way I can do that is just exaggerate myself. Like everything you see from, me as Dolly is still me.
Yeah.
It's just like an exaggerated version of everyday me that is slowly just slipping into melding. And I feel like I'm just gonna become Dolly at some point.
Yeah,
Because
I
I did try to, somebody told me like keep them separate in the beginning. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And I took that to heart, and now it's just like slowly like melting together.
the only people who don't call me my porn name are like people who know me from back home in Michigan and like family members. Nobody knows me. So I'm one of those rare trans people who doesn't have a dead name. My name was very gender ambiguous, but it's also a name.
Hey,
It's also a name by like my parents followed the Grateful Dead, but not in like the 70s, like the 90s, like the end of the like early 90s. So I have a hippie ass
oh
name
my God.
that no one can ever. I have to explain the concept of it. So like eventually I'm like, if I just tell people my name's Chelsea, they're like, okay, Chelsea, great. Where my actual name, I have to like explain the concept of it. And then there's people who are always like, oh, why did you choose that name for yourself? I'm like, I literally did not.
My dead name is actually gender neutral, even though like I changed it just because like it was so, even though if it was gender neutral,
Mhm.
there was so much like trying to make me a male in my
Yeah.
family that I couldn't associate it with anything else. And I did like change my name. Uh, and but like the only people that call me that are like 10 people on this entire planet.
Mm.
So they're when somebody learns it for the first time and they start trying to use that around me, because I used even in the kink scene, I used Dolly.
Yeah.
Because I figured, I kind of do BDSM porn, I might as well go around as
Hmm.
my brand at these events and, these shows and
Yeah.
places. And, like, then somebody like says my dead name that because they just learned it and I forgot they learned it. And I'm like, wait, how do you know that? Who are you? When did I tell you that? Like, there's been like one occasion, they overheard it from somewhere else, and they're like, "Oh, I'll just start calling Dolly that," and I'm like, "Wait,
That's not even
it's
in a
just so
transphobic
weird."
way. It's like in a way where they think it
No,
makes
it's
them
just,
closer to you. It's weird.
and like being in porn with a porn name, it's like also trying to balance a secret identity, kind
Yeah.
of for obvious safety reasons.
Hmm.
And it's like what I try to explain. Any fucking person that comes up to me at like a kink event or somewhere and it's like, "Oh, you do porn? I want to do porn. Can you teach me how to do porn?" I'm like, "Do you really want to?" Like, there is so much shit you're gonna have to deal with, especially if you actually go anywhere in this industry.
For
And it's
real.
only gonna get more annoying and worse. And then you're gonna have your first stalker, and that's just, I feel like the first stalker is the
Yeah.
milestone.
Yeah, first
You
death
know?
threats, and you're like having real
Haven't
issues with
gotten any of
that.
those yet. I haven't
Oh,
had a death threat since like Call of Duty, Xbox Live Lobby, or
oh.
Halo.
Well, hopefully there's none coming. Yeah,
Yeah,
camming.
I don't know how.
I got one in
I
the
like,
last month.
oh gosh.
And I'm like, you don't mean that. I'm like, you don't want me to actually report you. And they're like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm still reporting you though. Fuck you.
That's what I used to like tell kids on like Call of Duty lobbies and stuff. Whereas like, you just committed a felony, right? Like,
Yeah.
you just sent me a whole like death threat that's like so intrinsically linked to your account, which you probably have your like parents' phone number in there, and like,
Credit card,
yeah,
address.
like, do you really like? Mm, and it's fucking, and I guess that like helped me be important too, is I was in all those toxic gaming lobbies, through my
Yeah.
teens, where it's just like the worst of the worst shit you can hear. So going to porn, I expected that. I have barely had any bad messages. Like I've barely had hate thrown at me. for being a trans like performer.
Yeah.
I feel like it's coming, but I'm
I
like, how the
mean,
fuck did I get here? And I'm still not getting it.
yeah. I think it's
I'm
a
waiting for the
lot.
other shoe to drop.
I think the industry's a lot better than it used to be. Um, and I think maybe because you're doing very specific porn, like you have to be a very specific person to come across trans BDSM. Like, you know what I mean? Or even just BDSM porn, because unless you're like looking for it, most people in the world do not know what public disgrace is. And when they see it, they're like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? I didn't even know this existed, you know? Like I had a podcast recently where I went
Yeah,
on. So my other deep passion other than porn and art and film and all this stuff is college football. And next year the national championship is gonna be the same
I would
week.
have never guessed that.
I mean, I can show you. I'm a huge Michigan fan. That's their national championship banner behind me. Um, deep, deep passion, literally since birth from where I'm from. You're from the South, you know how it's a big cultural thing. I do love
Yeah,
being in the
no,
South.
I understand it.
I love being in the South because I can
Like
talk
in
to
college
anyone about
football.
it. Yeah, I can talk to anyone about college football. There, everyone knows ball, and I'm like, I love this. So, I was on a podcast because I have a lot of knowledge about college football. I had a podcast before that covered it. So there's this like college football reporter that wanted to do the link between AVN and college football because they're both going to be the same week next year in Vegas, the national championship and AVN. So I did an entire podcast on it, and he was like, "I've never even knew that was possible in porn before. I didn't know that was a thing that existed and all this stuff." It's like very positive throughout, very never bought into anti-sex work tropes or anything, but it was still very much like he's like, "I didn't even know." But then there were other parts where I'm like, "Oh yeah, Angela White." He's like, "Of course I know Angela White." I'm like, "Okay, all right, good."
Like I just got into sports just because two friends that are also performers, they both play hockey.
Fun.
Um, and they have slowly dragged me into women's hockey. Uh,
PWHL,
so I've
yeah.
sl yeah, so I'm slowly becoming a puck bunny.
Mm, love that.
But yeah, like I still don't understand most of it, but I'm slowly getting there, and like it's slowly like getting other sports and like, oh, okay, now I kind of get this a little better compared to when it was just like my dad and his fraternity brothers all like watching college football, and I'm just sitting here like I have no clue what's fucking going on. Why
Yeah.
am I here? What
I'm ass
happened? Why is people cheering?
I'm assuming you're from a Georgia family.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would assume.
very Georgia.
So my pitch on college football is think about it as a reality TV show, right? But the only reason it has all these weird things that every single team has is because it's been going on for 155 years. So if you think about a reality TV show for that many seasons that just keep getting dumb shit coming in, like I love it. I love that sport more than anything. I will literally watch every game possible. I'll watch like 20 games in a weekend, right? So I have like four going on at once. Obsessed. But like I can also appreciate it's the dumbest thing and none of it really matters and none of it does anything, but also that there's 100,000 people that can gather in one place and feel like connected to one thing. I think just on an artistic level, that like really warms my heart, you know?
No, that's fair. And it's a whole social and community thing.
Yeah.
And that's the part where I was like, okay, I can understand like the social aspect. Even if I'm not t totally interested in the game, I always went along with people to stuff just to be there and sit and
Hmm.
chill and hang out and get excited that they're excited. I'm that kind of person of like, you're excited? Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy your team's doing good. I don't understand what's going on, but I'm happy that you're happy that your team's doing.
So I have a sport that I think you're gonna really like. I want you to try this, okay?
Is it
So
roller derby?
No, I mean not try is like I mean just like watch try, right? Okay. So you're obviously like really into impact play, all this crazy shit, right? You do a lot of crazy
Yeah.
BDSM. So in women's MMA, most are dating each other. There was a champion named do you know who Amanda Nunes is?
No.
So she was the UFC champion in two weight divisions. She's a lesbian. She's from Brazil. And the way she met her wife was that was one of her training partners. So they met through the gym, right? And the coaches had to pull them both aside because they would continue in their sex life at home to just like hit each other and shit during sex way too hard. So they were both just like always covered in bruises. And they're like, you guys need to stop doing that at home. This is affecting your performance. And they both like had to stop doing impact play at home because of that. And there's like a whole interview where they both talk about it. And that's why
Oh
they started
my
dating because
God.
they're like, I needed to find someone who could like beat me up like in the bedroom too. And I couldn't find anyone other than another UFC fighter. And they got married. I think they have two or three kids now.
Aw.
It's so so wholesome. But yeah, I would like highly suggest women's MMA because it's very much still like the physical demanding thing. It's also these women essentially having to be influencers and like have a social media image to sell their fights, which I feel like can also kind of relate to porn. Also, I feel like having such a thing that's so tied to just your body and how you interact with someone else's body, I think also can be a really big tie to porn. So I think if you're going to try to get into any sport, I would highly, highly suggest women's MMA.
I've thought about it. Not like getting
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it
but
though. I
like,
have thought about doing roller derby just because like even one time I I can take a beating.
yeah,
Listen, and it's not I don't care about winning or losing. I like to play a game.
yeah.
Like it's like I'm the type of person that'd probably go on like one of those shows. Like, have you ever seen the old Saturday Night Live where
Oh,
it's
for sure.
Celebrity Jeopardy?
Yeah, yeah.
I've always wanted to just do something like that and just like I want to make my own game in a game. I I have a little brat in me, just a little.
Yeah.
Doesn't come out often. Chaos gremlin. But anyway, like yeah, women's MMA sounds amazing. I didn't know a lot of them were dating each other, and that's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that.
Also, like less
Like it's
intense.
so hard.
WNBA is the same way. They're
Less
all dating
intense.
each other. Yeah. WNBA all dating each
You
other.
know what that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess, and again, it's kind of like porn. A lot of us date within
Mm-hmm.
porn a lot of times because it's hard for people who aren't in porn to understand half the shit we go through and what we
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with and like all of that. Um, like most of my partners I've dated, um, have been porn or porn adjacent. Um, just because it's so hard. Or kink.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the
Yeah.
closest I can get to dating outside. Like porn is somebody in the kink community.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's just so hard to date someone and try to explain all of this. Like when your job literally is your body, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's a big tie to sports too. Like your body is the major part of your job.
Yeah.
It's not like other
We're definitely
jobs.
athletes in a lot of capacities. I feel like it's like a combination of like being like something like MMA where it's so physically demanding and like maybe something very artistic like figure skating where you still have to make it look effortless.
Yeah. Like it's it's a lot. There's a lot you put your body through,
Mm-hmm.
and anyone that doesn't have to do that for, their work, like their day-to-day job,
Mm-hmm.
where you have to increasingly shove bigger and bigger things up your butthole.
Yeah.
That's it's just so hard to explain to people where it goes back to like what I was saying with the Vice article where that that model was talking about like how being in porn is like being an Olympic athlete. Like you
Yeah.
gotta fucking constantly be on it. Like I most people don't realize like you gotta like to do extreme bottoming, you gotta go
Hmm.
on like a whole diet.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Like that's why when I'm off a test, I'm finally like I can eat food. Yay.
Yeah.
I, like I've been like recently my like go-to has just been like gummies to get me through the day and
Mm.
protein shakes.
There used to be a Gatorade protein that I would use all the time. It was like just a regular ass white Gatorade,
Ooh.
and they discontinued it sadly, but that was my
I
go-to for the
vaguely
last year.
remember that. I think that wasn't that when they like had the protein bars too, like the Gatorade protein bars.
I never did those, so like I have a really bad gag reflex, so if I'm getting like face fucked super hard, I usually vomit. So I made the mistake before, like very early in my career, I drank a green Gatorade before, and then everyone on set was like, "Oh my God, are you dying?" Like, no. So I just switched to all clear liquids for shoot days because I don't want to freak anyone the fuck out. I don't want to do that to anyone personally.
That's
Um
fair.
so
That's fair. That actually reminds me of a funny story. You were talking about Steph earlier. Our
yeah.
first shoot together was for my birthday.
Hmm.
And so she was like, she bought a cake, like this whole cake. And part of it was she was trying to like face fuck me till I puke. So she was just pouring
Hmm.
milk down my throat just constantly and ramming a dildo, and she could not get me to puke.
Oh,
And
really?
I don't have a good gag reflex. I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't have like I don't, and I don't know what that day, but she could not get me to puke.
Wow.
And yeah, no, she couldn't. And it's not like that. It's like a normal thing. For whatever reason, the only way I could puke was when she stopped. And so I was trying to communicate that while keeping the scene going because it was looking good. But
Yeah.
it was like, I would get to the point where I'm like, oh, I can puke because that was part of the scene. She wanted to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
puke
yeah.
on this cake. And I'm like, but it would just go away. And and she's like, I guess I gotta keep continuing. I'm like, and then like a couple of shoots later, I puked not on purpose for
Hmm.
another scene, because it just hit the right place, and she's like, I'm like, well, I guess I can do it now. And Steph was filming. He was like, why couldn't you do that on the cake?
That is the scene I
She was
picture
like, I
you.
spent like 15 minutes in your throat and you can't puke on the cake, but now you can puke.
That's definitely the scene I associate
Yes.
you with. Like when I look at you, I'm like, that's the scene I think about, honestly. That's like the scene in my head, the cake scene that I'm like, that's who they are as a person. So I have one final
That
question
was
for you.
actually going to be longer.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was going to be like way longer, but we actually had to cut it short. Like there was a ton planned for that day. She was going to put me through my paces. So like that's the cut down version we ended up having to do because we didn't have the time and everything. So that was actually going to be way worse.
Um,
But yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry. You were saying,
Yeah, so I have a final question. This is the only kind of BuzzFeedy kind of question.
yay.
So let's say you can magically change one thing in porn when you wake up tomorrow, it's just like completely changed. What would you have it be?
One thing, like in the industry, like if I
Yeah.
could change the porn industry,
Yeah.
I would try to like I think the one thing I would change about it is the how segregated it is.
Mm.
I think that's the biggest thing because it's such a small amount of people want to work with trans people and it sucks. It really sucks, especially when it comes to like the kink and BDSM things, a lot of them, there's a lot of people that just refuse to work with trans people. Um, and so we have such a small amount of people that we can be able to do amazing content with. Because everybody else is just like, we don't want to work with trans girls. Um, there's a lot of, and I recently learned, and I didn't know this, of there's a lot of stigma with working with us, and it can actually affect you in the cis industry because if people don't want to work with people that work with trans girls, apparently.
I think it used to be
And
like a lot worse, but I think there is still probably some residual of that.
that's what I'm feeling like is there's residual because had I've worked with one or two people from the cis side that were finally like, I want to work with trans people,
Hmm.
and they're trying to like make their break into this side of the industry.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, that would be the one thing I would change is how segregated the industry is,
Yeah, I
and
think. Oh, go on. I'm sorry. These pauses with the
because
Zoom, I always
I,
think
I
it's.
the only other thing would be can we get some less toxic fans? I love my fans. But like I luckily I haven't had any super toxic fans. But
Hmm.
I talk to friends that do, and it's like, can everybody just chill? That's the other thing. Like, it's like people who want these customs and they order customs from me, and it's like, I have no way to do this. Like this would require me buying a green screen and
Yeah.
like all this equipment and like learning to use it. Like, also, this is an 800-page script.
Oh my God, those
Oh,
are the fucking worst. Oh my God.
like I get it, but like you have to be realistic about what you want from. So like that would be the only other thing I would change, and that and the
Yeah.
people who are like, I sent you my dick, answer me.
Oh my God, those motherfuckers. The worst. Yeah, I
I
totally
have one
agree.
that's going on 6 months. 6 months.
Oh my
I,
God,
I haven't
really?
like muted them or blocked them. I just want to see it's been like 6 or 7 months and it's going strong like once a month, and I'm just like, how long are they gonna keep this up?
Maybe
I just
years.
kind of want to like a baby. Like I guess it's kind of like a running experiment on it. Um I because I'm like, I don't know what to do and I feel bad about blocking people unless it's like really bad.
Girl, block them. Just block them.
I'm
Always just block them. Um, but like what you're saying,
fair. Usually
it's
I do.
it's so weird
Yeah.
in this industry though, like how gay porn is so separated from straight porn too, and that we're considered straight porn. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, how is me getting strapped down by some lesbian straight? But okay.
Yeah, I mean it's like also like everything's so heavily associated with sissy too, which uh, that's not really my big like thing. I mean,
Yeah.
and so everybody just, oh, you're trans, so you're a sissy, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
like
I tackled that shit day one. I'm like, don't put your weird ass fetish on my shit. I'm like, I'm just a woman who wants to do fucked up
if you,
porn.
yeah, yeah, I yeah, no, totally. I just want to do fucked up porn. I'm a girl, and like I feel like, if you want to do the sissy stuff, if that's your kink, that's amazing. You go do you, and I support that. But don't like drag that weird because it's always this weird thing where a lot of these like straight like dudes that are into sissy
Hmm.
porn just see us as other dudes, and
Yeah.
it's like we're not. It's like cross dressers, so many cross dressers where it's like, oh, I'm just like you, and it's like, no, no, baby, you're not. At the end of the day, you can take that off and you still retain all the privileges
Hmm.
of being a male in America. Like you
Yeah.
still retain all the rights and extra stuff that comes along with it. at the end of the day. Like I went into transitioning knowing I was shutting doors. I went into being poly knowing that I could be shutting doors. I went into porn knowing I'm definitely shutting fucking doors. Those doors are slamming. So like at the end of the day, no, we're not the same. Like I gave up a lot that you're not giving up. I'm injecting the hormones into my body. I'm having surgeries. I'm like, this isn't just something I can take off at the end of the day.
For sure. Yeah, it's like they just don't share the same experience. They were not white girl wasted at the club at 21 screaming to Taylor Swift. They were not. That's my lived experience, and they're never gonna understand that.
I was never, I was like, I realized like I was white girl wasted when I started drinking, and going out to bars
Yeah.
slightly before my transition, and after I'm like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Oh, that explains a lot. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like the real becoming a woman is when you're drunk in the bathroom line at a club, and then every girl's like to each other, be like, wow, you're so pretty. You should break up with your partner and shit. I'm like, that is the entry into womanhood experience for me.
That and like I think the biggest one for me was when like realizing how I had to protect my drink,
Yeah.
like and then like you just never set it down and
Well,
like that was like a reality change for me too. And that was
yeah.
like the first thing my mom and my sister were like, "Hey, okay, you're a woman now, and you're going to a bar and we're gonna teach." And I'm like,
It's like
"Oh
so fucked
shit."
up because that's like I feel like there's so much of this like trans conversation that people are like trans women retain blah 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 and like but it's ultimately it's like if you pass and shit all you get is a reward is just regular sexism. You just get the same
Yeah,
shit from men who are like, "Oh, you're just creating drama. You're just gossiping when you're raising real issues as opposed to actively, you know, being treated as a person, you're just treated as less than and really reduced down to whether you're bangable or
there,
not."
there's no like actual reward. Like the more you pass,
Yeah.
it's just the more regular misogyny you face.
Yeah.
And you go from like the weird discrimination of being trans to like, oh, they actually do view you as a woman. But now they also now view you as a woman. So you just get regular massage.
Yeah, you just get sexism classic, which is so yeah, I feel like there's just so many trans conversations that never actually touch on that because it's always like I feel like being trans and transitioning is so about like it's like oh you're changing from one thing to another and like particularly with myself transitioning as a teen I didn't have this other life, you know? I don't remember what I was doing when I was 12 or 13 years old. I was watching Nickelodeon, like I can't be like, "Oh yes, this is a whole past life." So it's just like, "Oh yeah, my entire adult life as a woman has just been dealing with fucking sexism." And it's just like very universal.
It so is, and it's like it's the weirdest part is when you realize that the switch, like when somebody sees you as a woman, and then they're just using regular sexism on you,
Yeah.
and it's like a weird moment of, oh, you actually see me as a woman, and that's affirming, but oh, now I'm just getting regular,
Yeah.
just misogyny, like
Well,
wonderful prize.
well, I love that
It's yes,
we got to like
sorry.
tag on this end about what actually being trans is like and just dealing with regular sexism. Um,
Same.
yeah. So where can everyone find you on all the socials so they can look up your fucked up porn?
Well, you can find me as Dolly Rotten on Hotline Share for my more extreme content. You can find me on MiniVids and FetLife, Twitter, Blue Sky, all under Dolly Rotten. Um, it's so pretty much almost anywhere you can find content, you can find me. Um, except Clips for Sale. I have not set up a Clips for Sale yet.
Oh, thank you, Dolly, so much for coming on. This was so much fun to
Thank
talk,
you.
and I feel like we were into some really deep areas
Yes.
too
Oh my
that
God.
people can obviously, I think there's gonna be a lot of trans women that especially relate to the last shit we were talking about because it's just not a narrative that's ever talked about in the media because it's just like I don't think the media also wants to talk about sexism because that's a bigger issue that affects 50% of our population. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I hope everyone enjoys this conversation and thank you so much, Dolly.